Hello there, and thank you for tuning in to today's edition of Weather Where You Are, streaming on Atlanta News First Plus. I'm in for First Alert Meteorologist Cutter Martin. I'm in for First Alert Meteorologist Ella Dorsey, on this obviously Friday. I'm First Alert Meteorologist Cutter Martin. Thank you for tuning in and for watching. Want to remind you, we're streaming on a variety of platforms at any given time. AtlantaNewsFirst.com, the Atlanta News First app, First Alert Weather app, of course, Roku, Amazon Fire, YouTube. In fact, YouTube, one of the best places to get your weather questions answered. So if you have any weather questions, comments, concerns, YouTube the place to be. The account to like and to follow is Atlanta News First. Again, we're streaming there right now. I'm going to be monitoring comments as they come in. If you have any weather questions, comments, concerns, that's the streaming account to be on. Also, a reminder that you can text us, and I'll go ahead and pop that number up right now. If it were a day with active weather or severe weather, you could text us pictures, videos. But on any given stream, you can text in your weather questions, get those answered via phone. We'll literally text you back. All you have to do is text 470-777-WANF. Again, 470-777-9263. So we're going to kind of slide into the stream here, talk about the weather where you are. And as we go through it, just feel free to shoot me a comment, and I'll stop and let you know what's going on. Outside right now, we are talking about the heat. In fact, I'm going to have to switch over sky cams. We'll show you a nighttime view of Centennial Olympic Park. Again, this was an image from earlier this morning, and now we can bring back up that live look here for you in just a moment. And you'll notice, mostly clear. It was dark this morning, obviously. The sun came up, and temperatures have really responded to that sunlight. One of those days where it doesn't take all that much sun to really get things cooking, to get things warming up across North Georgia and Metro Atlanta, with hotter temperatures on the way, most certainly, in the First Alert forecast. In fact, we can take a look as the camera switches over to the Atlanta News First studio rooftop here, looking back towards Midtown Atlanta from West Midtown, top of the Atlantic building. And it is, I would say, crystal clear, though there's a little bit of haze outside, perhaps some Saharan dust mixed in with the cloud layer, just a couple puffy clouds there in the distance, but obviously sun is baking, it is doing its job, and it is sending temperatures soaring across North Georgia and Metro Atlanta. Case in point, we're going to switch over to our combination map here, temperature and radar. First Alert radar not picking up anything here locally. Thermometers already back in the upper 80s to lower 90s, in fact 91 right now in Eatonton. So it is a scorcher of an afternoon, and it's only going to get hotter. High temperatures back in the mid, some maybe upper 90s as we get into the middle of the afternoon. And the combination of that heat, mid-upper 90s, with humidity, which you felt it yesterday. I took a kind of call it a run walk outside yesterday afternoon. You will feel it. It's the humidity, the mugginess in the air that makes it feel even hotter, and we'll have temperatures approaching dangerous levels. I should say feels like temperatures approaching dangerous levels this afternoon across North Georgia, in particular south and east of Metro Atlanta, the immediate metro. Heat advisory no longer in effect for the immediate metro, but if you live in Putnam County, areas like that, south and east of the city of Atlanta, we do have a heat advisory in effect. This is the latest as of today. Heat advisory is in effect for Putnam County. It is in effect for Oglethorpe County. It is in effect for Lamar County, Clark and Oconee counties. It's in effect for all of deep East Georgia and Middle Georgia, Macon, Warner, Robins, back to Sandersville, Waynesboro, Burke County, Georgia, extending back towards the Savannah Metro. That is where the combination of heat, and then even more importantly for this equation, so to speak, moisture, more plentiful down there, more muggy, more moisture in the air. So it's going to feel even hotter down across that portion of the state. So while there's no heat advisory in effect for the immediate metro, it is still hot. Temperatures already upper 80s, lower 90s, no matter which neighborhood you are streaming from this morning. 81, LJ, even Helen, higher elevation there, mid-80s. Isolated showers trying to pop up on First Alert radar, but so far mostly dry. I'll zoom down into a couple of these. These are mainly up in the mountains. You can see up around the kind of far western portions of Rabun County. It'll cross that county line here before too long. More so Union County, White County, building into Habersham County. We have a downpour here between Helen and Turnerville. Nice by comparison to the city of Atlanta day in the mountains, though. Helen already in the mid-80s, feeling even hotter than that. A little shower is moving off to the east. So we say on this stream, weather where you are, so we're going to go and put a minute-by-minute track on this in case you are up in one of these mountain higher elevation communities. Want to make sure that you do have the latest track. It's a nice day otherwise to be outside, so want to give you the first alert, let you know that rain may be moving in, sending you indoors in Turnerville by 12:06, so the next 30 to 35 minutes or so. Tallulah Falls may start raining by 12:11, though thunderstorms, showers and storms have had some struggle kind of maintaining themselves. So I don't think it's going to make it all the way across the state line into the upstate of South Carolina. May kind of rain itself out basically where it is between Helen and Turnerville, but we're going to put the track on it just in case on its current heading, current pace. It'll be moving into Turnerville before too long, as you saw on the other side of the top of the noon hour. All right, do you want to talk about something new in the tropics? We do have a new potential tropical cyclone. What does that mean? It means that the National Hurricane Center has designated an area worth watching. That began yesterday. Invest 97L. They're investigating it. And the investigation, so to speak, has led to now the designation of potential tropical cyclone 4, meaning that, yes, technically it's not a tropical depression, not a storm, certainly not a hurricane, but they are so confident that this is going to develop into a tropical system. They have gone ahead and in their way given you the first alert and let you know that this is going to develop. Let's go ahead and put out the first track. Let's issue the first watches, warnings, advisories before it even develops, because we don't need to wait for that to occur. In this case, the National Hurricane Center is confident enough to go ahead and issue that track. Forecast to make landfall as a tropical storm. Of course, there's always some wiggle room in strength, and the old saying goes, always plan for at least one category higher than it's forecast to make landfall as. So in this case, if we were in Florida, we'd be encouraging our friends, loved ones, residents, and viewers to prepare for a landfalling Category 1 hurricane, to something we'll be watching out for. Most likely landfall point. Now, the shape of the coast is kind of weird here. Even a small degree of change of turn would mean very different impact locations as far as landfall is concerned for the state of Florida. A softer, more gradual turn, we're talking about a landfall in the Big Bend area. A sharper turn, that would mean Fort Myers, Naples area for the center of circulation. Keep in mind, the impacts will extend well beyond the center of circulation, with some of the heaviest rain possibly falling away from that center of circulation. So keep that in mind. We're going to be tracking this. Cone does move into Georgia, does include part of Georgia, and the cone is just where that center of the storm could pass through. That's key, not for impacts, but for the center of the storm. So the center of the storm could be anywhere within that cone as we get into Tuesday and Wednesday. So coastal Georgia, South Georgia impacts looking pretty likely to some extent. Of course, extent of impacts depend on exact track, which is still a little bit uncertain. But if you have plans along the Georgia beaches, St. Simons, Jekyll, Sapelo on up to Tybee Island, Savannah Metro on into the low country of South Carolina towards Charleston, South Carolina, a slow-moving, if not stalling, tropical system is possible. Now, whether it stalls over land and dumps buckets and buckets of rain, or it stalls over the open waters of the southwestern Atlantic and contributes to some significant beach erosion, that still has yet to be determined with any 100% confidence. This is something we're going to be watching here pretty closely. What I will say is that as far as local impacts are concerned, the risk is relatively low. The concern is not high. It does look like the majority of any rain and squally weather with this would be remaining well to our south and southeast. Maybe a couple isolated showers moving in as we get into Sunday and Monday, especially East Georgia and southeastern parts of the Atlanta News First viewing area, but no reason to be concerned. But if you do have travel plans to the Florida coast, even the east coast of Florida, they would be impacted even if they're not the landfall point, remember, or the southeast U.S. coast, anywhere from Georgia, South Carolina, on up to the outer banks of North Carolina. Keep an eye on the first alert forecast, and we will be keeping you updated. Temperatures on their climb, and I want to show you a forecast that was actually issued at 6 o'clock this morning to show you that so far we're right on schedule. 88 degrees at 11 a.m. Just showed you that here. That's the current temperature. Forecast to be 89 at noon. So we'll be about 89, 90, pretty much on pace with reaching high temperatures in the mid-90s this afternoon. It is going to be a very hot afternoon, scorcher of a day. Technically, though, it is the hottest time of the year. This is Georgia, so we're used to the heat, but this is warmer than average. Average high temperature right around 90 degrees, and that is only half the story. The other half is what does it feel like with that moisture, that mugginess factored in. And you can see heat index temperatures forecast to peak above 100 as we get into the afternoon, getting very close to heat advisory thresholds there in the city of Atlanta, even though technically Fulton County, nor Gwinnett County, nor DeKalb, nor Cobb, nor Douglas, nor Clayton, nor Henry None of our immediate metro counties are under a heat advisory, but I don't want you to take that for granted. It is still going to be hot, and if you were uncomfortable, if you were miserable yesterday, prepare for the same today. Just make sure you're drinking plenty of water. Not just the water, but it's the electrolytes, those the salts that actually help keep you hydrated as long as they're in the right balance. Find some shade when you can. I know a lot of folks are working outdoors. It's a Friday. It's a work day. Think about all the construction projects, freeway and otherwise, going on around Metro Atlanta. Take some breaks if you can. Take more breaks than normal. And really good advice here, just pay extra attention to how you are feeling as you go through the day. Be in tune with your body. And if you start to feel, loss of breath, nausea, headache, or that sweating, your body's natural way of regulating temperature, if that starts to slack off and you're not sweating as much, you're feeling nauseous, having a headache, those sorts of things, make sure that you do take a break, stay hydrated, and of course seek proper care if it does get more serious. It does look like the hottest of the weather will be in the mid-afternoon hours, stretching on through the early evening hours here across North Georgia and Metro Atlanta, with the hottest of the weather occurring south and southeast of the city of Atlanta. As mentioned, there's also an isolated chance of showers and thunderstorms today. It is not going to be a washout of a day by any means. Nonetheless, isolated showers and thunderstorms are in the forecast. Going to go ahead and walk it through the hour by hour. We've talked about the heat. That is the reason for today's first alert weather day. A few areas are under a heat advisory, as you saw, south and east of Metro Atlanta. As far as the storm potential, it's mainly late this afternoon, more so this evening, 5, 6, 7, 8 p.m. storms approaching. Though some forecast data is a little bit slower with that chance of isolated storms, like yesterday's type coverage, where most neighborhoods are dry. Some get boomed on with frequent lightning, very loud thunder, type that will make you jump a little bit. Heavy rain, lightning, maybe some gusty wind, small hail as well. We had that scenario yesterday. Did not even hear any thunder at my place, but just county or two over, it was storming pretty significantly. Rockdale County, far eastern DeKalb County, southern Gwinnett County, pretty nasty little storm, single storm. And that area moved through. So similar forecast today. Storms are going to be very hit or miss. Nonetheless, could impact the metro even for the dinner plans. Keep that in mind. For the Friday dinner plans, I have a reservation at 7:30. I'm going to be keeping an eye on radar, seeing what's going on. Make sure you keep those precipitation and lightning alerts turned on in the First Alert Weather app. You don't have to open up, stream the newscast. You can just be alerted if storms are approaching your plans, your date night, whatever you have going on tonight. So just keep that in mind. Some models are a little later with the arrival, maybe 11, midnight, 1 a.m. for these isolated storms to roll in from northwest Georgia, eastern Alabama. But I do want you to be aware of the possibility that, there could be some shower and thunderstorm, hit or miss potential in the forecast through some of your dinner plans. And then that's about it. So we're watching heat today. We're feeling it. Heat advisory in effect for some. Isolated storms today. That rain chance gets just a little bit of a boost for some tomorrow, especially south and east of Metro Atlanta. First Alert Chief Meteorologist Jennifer Valdez is going to have your full forecast coming up in really only about 15, 16 minutes on Atlanta News First at noon. She'll walk you through the latest tropical update, more on potential Tropical Cyclone 4, another look at that track that we just showed you, and if there are any adjustments to the forecast, while minor, she will have those coming up streaming in just a little bit. You can stream that newscast anywhere you are watching this Atlanta News First Plus stream. I want to wish you a wonderful Friday. Great rest of it anyway. Stay hydrated, stay cool. Full forecast is always in the First Alert Weather app, and First Alert Chief Meteorologist Jennifer Valdez is on Atlanta News First at noon in 15 minutes with your latest update.